Welcome to In Edina, a program about the people, places, and activities all in the city of Edina. I'm your host, Lily McDonald. We bring you this broadcast from the South Metro Public Safety Training Facility, a place where law enforcement, firefighters, and others have an opportunity to train to serve our community. And joining us to talk about this facility, Executive Director Deborah Fields. Welcome to In Edina.
Thank you, and thank you for being here.
Wow, this is quite a place.
Oh, it's a beautiful facility. We absolutely love it.
You have about 3.5 acres here.
3.5 acres. We've got 2 buildings, 28,000 square feet, and a 6-story fire tower where there's 2 fire simulators. And then we have our building, our main building here, where we've got classrooms, a defensive tactics gym, 2 firearms ranges.
Wow. So let's take them one at a time, because those are facilities that we don't often get to be a part of. So the fire tower makes sense. I mean, This is how firefighters practice getting in and out of buildings safely and making rescues. And then the gym, defensive tactics, what is that?
Well, that's where officers get in and do their kind of wrestling around type of activities, handcuffing, taking people down. Yeah, exactly.
And then you also have the 2 gun ranges, right?
2 gun ranges, and then 2 classrooms, and 1 firearms simulator for law enforcement.
All right, so that's like some technology so they can practice.
Yeah, laser guns, and you're interacting with something that's on the screen.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, that's fantastic. How many officers and firefighters train here?
Hundreds in a given year. The facility is owned by the cities of Edina, Eden Prairie, Bloomington, and the Airport Commission. So all of their police officers train here, and then the fire agencies from the 3 cities, Edina, Bloomington, and Eden Prairie. But we also have a number of agencies that rent here on a regular basis. The local Federal Air Marshal Service, Metro Transit Police, the Veterans Administration Police Department, State Patrol, a number of other agencies come through. So in a given year, hundreds of law enforcement come through here.
So these are all very well specialized organizations that have to have a certain number of training hours to keep their credentials going.
Yep, that's right.
But then they also have an opportunity to cross-train and work together.
Yes, and we also offer a number of courses, and that's where a lot of the cross-training comes in, is we have law enforcement courses that take place here that bring in people from throughout the state, even the region.
The air marshals are kind of interesting. They're here a lot.
10 days a month training. If the air marshals ever have to use their sidearms, they better be a good shot on an airplane.
So they have to put in a ton of time.
Yeah, they do.
That's interesting. Now, this facility opened in 2004, right?
Yes.
Okay. And it's not just for firefighters and police officers, but the public can also use this facility.
Yeah, that's one of the very unique things about this facility, is that we do invite the public in to use it. On Saturday mornings, our police firearms range is open to the public. We also offer introduction to handguns and firearm safety training here for civilians, and permit to carry courses as well, and a number of other things. Some of our police courses the public is invited to attend as well.
And that's unusual, isn't it?
Very unusual. You won't find that pretty much throughout the state, that people are allowed to come in and use a police firearms range.
Why is that? I mean, why do we have that opportunity?
The history of where this building sits, there used to be an outdoor range that was supported in part by a family, the Whipperman family, who lost their son to a gun accident. And they contributed money to be able to offer the opportunity for the public to practice safe firearms handling. Wow. So when this facility was opened in 2004, the board of directors determined that we wanted to be able to continue to honor that. And so we've offered this opportunity for the public to come in here.
Wow. Who's on the board of directors here?
The city managers from the city of Edina, Bloomington, Eden Prairie, and then the executive director from the Airport Commission.
Now, in addition to basic training courses, you also offer some national level courses who come in here.
Yeah, a couple of examples would be the Northwestern University Homicide Investigation course. That's a 2-week course we have coming up. And another one is the national speaker on verbal judo.
Verbal judo.
Yeah, it's kind of like dancing around with words.
Okay. So this is a level of authority in someone's voice.
That's right.
An expectation that...
Exactly.
law enforcement has to have in order to get people to do what they want them to do.
Yes, and those are the courses that bring in people from throughout the state and even the region.
Because this is an active facility, there are opportunities. Tell us how we can learn more about the facility and maybe take advantage of some of the firearms training.
Probably the best way is to go to our website, and that's southmetrotraining.com, and you can click on the public access link or any of the links to find out more about what we've got going on here.
Well, thank you very much, Deborah, for running a tight ship and keeping it going.
Thank you for being
for
here.
everyone to use.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
We love to share it.
This facility is equipped to handle not just basic training, but also special operations training. And Fire Safety Battalion Chief Tom Schmitz is here to talk about just that. Welcome to Edina.
Thank you for having me.
Really appreciate you being here. Fantastic facility, isn't it?
We love it. It provides us with a lot of opportunity for a lot of different types of training.
Now, special operations teams are pretty unique and very well specialized. Talk about that work.
Yeah, the Edina Fire Department has a 20-member team that we take those people, we give them specialized training in various types of technical rescue, rope rescue, confined space, trench, building collapse, those types of rescues.
All right, so we're talking about, ice safety.
Correct.
All right, somebody falls in, you've got gear to help in a process to get them out so nobody else gets hurt.
Correct.
Two-story house falls in, building falls in, all of that kind of work.
Yes.
And unique situations that might come with it, like your special operations team worked on the bridge collapse.
Correct. Well, we responded to the bridge collapse. We were one of 4 of the 5 state teams that responded. Our crews were there for several hours assisting the Minneapolis Fire Department with search and rescue efforts.
Mm-hmm. And that takes a lot of training. How much training does your 20-member team take?
Their initial basic training is an additional about 140 hours of training to cover things like rope rescue, confined space, trench, basic structural collapse. And then after that, they go on to advanced level training. They get their FEMA certifications, which is an additional 80 hours, and then any specialty training on top of all of that can go anywhere from another 40 to 60 hours. And then their monthly requirements that they have to maintain for their training.
Are these members specially chosen, or do they volunteer, or how do you become a member?
The initial team efforts were we were looking for people that were willing to be on the team. We specially picked them, but since then, when we went from 12 to 20, it's all been voluntary participation. We want that level of attitude on the team.
Now we have about 50 firefighters in the city of Edina between paid and volunteer firefighters. That means almost half of your team have undergone not just basic training, but this special technical training.
Yeah, that's right. 20 members, and then the rest of the department, those 20 members have to take their knowledge and bring it out to the rest of the department and provide what's called support level training, so that when they are on a call, the rest of the department can assist them in what they need to do their specialized work.
There's a lot of falling into place.
Exactly.
When you're on the scene of a basic fire, structural fire, or a big event like a bridge collapse, so that everybody knows how to respond. Now, your team is also a member of a statewide task force. You could actually be called to duty in Duluth.
Correct. In 2004, the state of Minnesota stood up a statewide structural collapse team. Edina Fire Department was selected as one of the 5 sponsoring fire departments: Minneapolis, St. Paul, Rochester, Dakota County Special Ops, and then the Edina make up that team. And we are trained, equipped to respond anywhere in the state for structural collapse or any other type of technical rescue.
Wow. Now you also have basic training here, so firefighters, EMS,
Correct.
paramedics,
Yep.
right? And police officers as well.
Correct. And this facility is a very busy facility. The Edina Fire Department uses it year-round. We have to maintain all of our firefighting training, which on average, the guys will have 6 to 9 hours of fire training every month. On top of that, all of the paramedics have an additional 4 hours of training. And then they keep pretty busy with all of those things.
But it's important to stay on top of things. Technology changes, right? And the process changes too.
It's never ending, the things that we have to try to stay on top of.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Tom, for joining us on Edina.
Thank you.
We appreciate all your training, all your time, and all your hard work.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Well, we want to wish a hearty congratulations to Jeff Long, Edina's new police chief. Welcome to Edina.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And I know you've done a lot of training in this facility.
Yes, I have. I've been a police officer for 21 years.
You've been a part of programs here and a part of the department, obviously, for a long time, and you have taken over for Mike Satari, longtime veteran.
Right. Mike was a police officer here for 31 years and chief for the last 10 years.
And he retired December 31st in 2009, and we're off to a fresh start under your leadership.
Right.
Although you were kind of groomed for this position in many ways, because you were hired from within.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate. I was deputy chief for the 2 years prior to becoming chief, and Mike has allowed me to do some of the chief duties prior to becoming chief, and that was very helpful in this transition.
Mm-hmm. And you're the sixth candidate, actually, hired within, out of 14 chiefs that we've had over time. The city's kind of intentionally done this a little bit with aspiring and qualified candidates like yourself.
Yes, Edina has a history of hiring from within for the chief's position, and fortunately for me, they stayed within this time also. And it's the sixth, as you said, the sixth chief that's been hired from within.
Okay. How's it been going so far?
It's been good. It was a great way to start the new year for me personally, and as a department, it's just an easy transition at the first of the year. And like I said before, working for Mike and having the opportunity to do some of these duties prior to becoming chief has really made the transition pretty easy.
Former deputy chief, what changes in your workload from being a former deputy chief to the chief?
Right. As deputy chief, you have a little bit more hands-on. You're a little bit more involved in the day-to-day activity. When you move to the chief's role, it's more long-term planning. It's not so much short-term stuff and dealing with the day-to-day stuff. So that's the biggest change, of just not dealing with the day-to-day activity.
Well, in preparing for this interview, you talked about the importance, though, of staying involved with all levels of the operation. How are you going to do that?
Well, I've been fortunate. I'm actually the fifth chief that I've worked for, if you want to call it that. So I've had the opportunity to see a variety of different chiefs and how they do things. And one of the things that I really liked about Mike Satari is he understood the job. He never distanced himself from the core of what we do, which is patrol. And that's what I want to do also, just stay involved and make sure that I still understand the job and periodically get out there and do the job.
But like any new hire and new management hire, you come in and you want to make change, because surely in 21 years of working for this city's department, you've thought to yourself a time or two, if I were chief, I'd do it this way.
Right. And that it's an exciting time for me, exactly for what you said. Over the years, I've said, if I was chief, maybe I'd do this. So one of the things that I'm starting right now is looking at the department from top to bottom, looking at all our sworn positions and non-sworn positions, how we're doing things, and just making sure that we're doing it right. And also looking, is there a way that we can consolidate any positions? Maybe share things with the city that already have people doing a similar job. With the economy the way it is and the budget being tightened up, it's a great opportunity to look at the department from top to bottom.
Mm-hmm. Give me an example of what you might be looking at now, or you might consolidate, because it's not just staff positions. It's hard to consolidate staff positions, isn't it? Because you're trained police officers.
Right.
You can't just cross that over with a city position in another department, but there are other activities.
Mm-hmm. We have a variety of non-sworn positions, such as our IT department. And the police department's one of the few city departments that actually has their own IT department. So that's one of the things I'm looking at. Is there something that we can do to share with the city that may save the police department some costs? Mm-hmm. And then a variety of other non-sworn positions, administrative type work, things of that such.
Budget's always a battle. How is it for you in 210?
We came through pretty well. We had one position frozen, and that is a detective spot. So we have one less detective. And we had essentially a 0% increase in our budget. However, with goods and services still going up, at 0% still, we still have to find some ways to make some cuts and to make things work. But what's important to me is that we don't affect the service to the community, that we can limit our costs in ways that the community won't be affected.
Mm-hmm. And you're very active in the community here in Edina. You live in this community, and you attend many of the events in the community, and now you even have to as the new chief.
Right. I call Edina home. I grew up in Edina. I live in Edina. I have 3 teenagers in the Edina School District, a member of the Edina Rotary, Afternoon Rotary, and I've been a member of the Lions Club in the past, active in my kids' sports, and it's great. I have a great support system in Edina, and I've enjoyed living here all these years.
Well, Jeff Long, congratulations again. We look forward to working with you and enjoying your new leadership.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
The city of Edina has police reserves who back up the police department when they are needed. Captain Browderstone heads that group of police reserves who are very active. Welcome to Edina.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate your work with the reserves. How many do you have on force?
Right now we have 16, but we're always looking for additional people.
And you're talking about adult reserves, so you got to be 21 years old and up
Exactly, yes.
to get involved. And you are participating in major events right alongside our sworn police officers.
That's correct. Every major event that happens in Edina, you can rest assured that the reserves will become active in the program also.
So, for instance, one event, the LPGA tournament in 2008, your force was providing traffic control and some support. Any serious calls, the police or fire department, you are also there on call as needed, 24/7, 365 days a year.
That's exactly right, yes.
So how do you volunteer? What does it take?
Well, we first look at the person for an oral interview, and then if they pass the oral interview, then one of our investigators will thoroughly investigate their background. If they pass that, then they come on board. And then we send them to a 10-week Hennepin County Sheriff's School. We also have one Saturday where we have traffic direction. And then they come on board and we start training them in Edina.
But these are volunteers, unpaid position, right?
That's correct.
All right, so they volunteer their time. And basically, if they get called, once they're active members, they get called, they come to the police station, and then you send them out to the scene. Is that right?
That's right, yes.
Okay. Wow.
The city is very generous with uniform allowance and training, and we train our reserve force constantly.
What kinds of things do reserves have to learn?
Well, we send them through defensive tactics, which means expandable baton, chemical irritant, and handcuffs. And we also do taser training, but we do not carry tasers.
All right. Well, crowd control would come in handy to know how to speak to the public if they're in the way or someone's driving and they're not supposed to in an area. You need to know how to handle all of that.
Exactly, yes.
Okay. And traffic. So that's traffic-related training. What other training?
Well, we do annually first aid, CPR, and AED. That's extremely important when we're dealing with crowd control. For example, at our art fairs, we have two major art fairs. We have a large 4th of July parade and also major fireworks on 4th of July in the city. So it's extremely important that we have those type of things for training.
And the reserves are also working on holidays as well.
Oh, yes.
Right.
We supplement the police force on holidays.
The supplementation, you also supplement financially because of the number of hours that your reserves put in saves the city money. How many hours do you put in on an average basis, your whole team?
Our team usually donates approximately 4,000 hours per year. And when you figure that out, that is equivalent to approximately 2 full-time officers. So it saves the city a lot of money.
Wow, and you're very active, and you're going to be even more active come spring because you receive grant funding to put a couple of bike patrols out there in the city. Talk about that program, and congratulations on the grant, by the way.
Thank you. Well, we're very proud and very excited about that because we received 2 new bicycles, and we're anxious to get out there. And we'll be able to do better crowd control at our various functions, and then train these people and patrol our parks better also.
Yeah, I mean, on foot versus on bike, you'll be able to cover a lot more miles that way.
And it's very difficult to get a large squad car through some of the areas in our parks to patrol properly.
Excellent. Browderstone, 14 years
Yes.
organizing these reserves.
Yes.
We thank you for your time, your effort, and keep up the good work. If folks want to get involved and volunteer to become a reserve, they should call 952-826-1600 and just ask for police reserve information.
Yes.
All right. Thank you again very much for joining us on Edina.
Thank you.
In the 3 years since we've been on the air, Edina 16 has received dozens of letters and comments from our loyal viewers. Many of these suggestions have resulted in segments on the show. This year, we are sharing some of those letters with you and answering viewer mail. Lynn writes, "Thanks for showing us the new fire station on your show. I enjoyed seeing the new station and hearing from the chief about the department. Are all of Edina's firefighters paid, or do you have some volunteer firefighters too? Thanks for your question, Lynn. Edina's full-time fire department is augmented by 16 paid on-call volunteer firefighters. In addition to their day jobs, paid on-calls are required to come together 3 times a month for 3-hour-long training sessions and be on call 24/7. To maintain their status as volunteers, each member must respond to general alarms and group pages and take part in 20 hours of shift work over a 6-month period. Last year, the fire department completed an exhaustive recruitment and hiring process for new volunteers. 4 new firefighters were added to the roster at that time. Do you have a question you'd like answered on In Edina? Write to me at edinamail@ci.edina.mn.us or send it to Edina City Hall, 4801 West 50th Street, Edina, Minnesota, 55424. We've also introduced a new regular segment on the show. Each month, we're highlighting a volunteer who is working to make Edina a better place to live, learn, do business, and raise families. 2 chaplains assist the Edina Police Department with death notifications and other sensitive issues. Edina 16 caught up with them to learn more about their work.
405 Metro, Harris, Lieutenant.
Edina police officers face a number of challenges every day, but nothing hits as hard as dealing with death.
As sensitive and as caring as we try to be, our training isn't in how to deliver bad news or sensitive news.
That's what makes the work of Reverends Rich Finau and Kurt Callan even more inspiring.
To be with a family in a really horrible, grieving time is humbling for us.
Both these volunteers work exclusively with family members who have lost a loved one.
I just get a chance to be a caring presence and listen and intervene in ways that might be helpful.
Both men of religion are members of the Edina Police Chaplain Program, which was established in 1997.
No, I've always had a deep abiding respect for the police, that whole idea that there are people out there that are walking the line for us every day right in our city that are protecting us and serving us.
As volunteers on behalf of the police department, they offer their emotional support to the bereaved in the community.
Our job is to help the officers so they can go back on the street and do what they do so wonderfully well. And then we can spend some time with the family trying to help them in a really difficult, grieving time.
And assist the department with sensitive tasks, such as notifying family members of a loved one's passing.
This is something that helps us deliver news in a respectful manner.
When we're there, we can care for the family and the individuals and take care of some of the relational details while they're taking care of some of the important facts that they need to have.
When they are not assisting the police department, Reverend Finau is the pastor at Christ Presbyterian Church in Edina.
Oh, Pastor Fino's a great guy. He's always been a constant presence of joy and grace.
And his counterpart, Reverend Callan, leads the congregation at Mount Olivet Lutheran Church in Minneapolis.
He's just worked hard in his life and his ministry, and he's gifted, he's funny, he's exuberant.
While both these men may provide spiritual guidance in different churches, they share a common bond in public service and support of police officers who protect and serve our community.
I think for me, being able to value them, I think they're some of the most underappreciated people and undervalued folks. And just to let them know that we appreciate them and what they do and want to support them.
Special thanks to both of these religious leaders for their time and skill in our community, and especially for the time they spend with our Edina police officers. You've been watching In Edina, a program about the people, places, and activities all in the city of Edina. Special thanks to those giving us permission to bring you this broadcast from South Metro's Public Safety Training Facility. I'm your host, Lily McDonald. I'd like to thank all of our guests for appearing on this broadcast and to you for watching. Until next time, make it a great day.